The courtroom had already made up its mind. The accusation sounded too clear, too detailed, too confident. A woman stood on the witness stand, voice steady, eyes locked on the man sitting at the defense table. "That's him," she said. "He's the one who did it." The jury watched closely. The man didn't react, didn't shout, didn't defend himself. He just sat there silent. Because sometimes silence is the only thing a falsely accused person has left. The prosecutor walked forward slowly. "Are you absolutely certain?" The witness didn't hesitate. "Yes." The courtroom murmured. Because certainty carries power. Before we continue, subscribe to the Unheard Witness. Because sometimes the loudest accusations hide the quietest lies. The prosecutor continued. "Tell the jury what happened that night." The witness nodded. "It was late, around 10. She swallowed. I heard someone at the door." The jurors leaned forward. "When I opened it, he pushed his way inside." She pointed again, directly at the defendant. "He threatened me, demanded money." Gasps rippled across the gallery. The prosecutor lowered his voice. "And what did you do?" "I tried to fight back." Her voice trembled slightly. "But he grabbed my phone and ran." The prosecutor turned toward the jury. "You're certain the defendant is the man who attacked you?" "Yes." The word landed heavily. The prosecutor nodded. No further questions. The damage was already done. The defense attorney stood slowly. He didn't rush, didn't look angry, just calm, measured. "Good afternoon." The witness nodded. "Good afternoon." The defense stepped closer. "You said the incident happened around 10 o'clock. "Yes." "And the hallway light was on?" "Yes." "So, you clearly saw the person who entered your home?" "Yes." The defense paused. "You recognized him immediately?" "Yes." "How?" The witness answered quickly. "He lives nearby." The defense nodded slowly. "So, this wasn't a stranger?" "No." The defense walked a few steps across the courtroom, then asked something simple. "How long did the entire incident last?" The witness hesitated. "A minute. Maybe 2. The defense nodded. "So, in less than 2 minutes, you were certain about the identity of the attacker?" "Yes." The defense returned to the table, picked up a document, then looked back at the witness. "You filed a police report that same night?" "Yes." "You gave the same description?" "Yes." "And the police arrested the defendant the next morning?" "Yes." The prosecutor looked satisfied. The story was solid, consistent, convincing. The defense raised a hand slightly. "One more question." The judge nodded. "Proceed." The defense held up a photograph. "Is this your apartment hallway?" The witness leaned forward. "Yes." "And the security camera above the door, that belongs to the building?" "Yes." The defense turned toward the jury. "This camera records everything that happens outside the apartment door." The prosecutor frowned, but said nothing. The defense continued. "The footage from that night was submitted as evidence." The witness nodded slowly. "Yes." The defense walked toward the evidence screen. "Let's watch it together." The lights dimmed slightly. The video began. The hallway appeared on the screen, time stamp glowing in the corner. 9:58 p.m. The witness watched quietly. A shadow appeared at the end of the hallway. A figure walked toward the apartment door. The courtroom leaned forward. The witness nodded. "That's him." The defense didn't respond. The video continued. The figure knocked. The door opened slightly, then closed again. The man in the hallway stepped back, looked confused, and walked away. The room fell silent, because nothing else happened. The defense paused the video. "Is that the attack you described?" The witness blinked. "No." The defense tilted his head. "You said he forced his way inside." "Yes." The defense rewound the footage, played it again. The jurors watched closely. No struggle, no forced entry, just a brief conversation through the door. Then the man leaving. The prosecutor quickly stood. "Your Honor, this footage may not capture the entire incident." The defense nodded calmly. "You're right. Then he pointed at the timestamp. This footage runs continuously from 9:55 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. The courtroom shifted. The defense continued. And during that time, the defendant never entered the apartment. The witness's face tightened. He must have come back later. The defense pressed a button. Another video appeared. This is the stairwell camera. The footage showed the same man leaving the building. At 10:01 p.m., the defense looked at the witness again. You said the attack lasted 2 minutes. Yes. You said it happened at 10. Yes. The defense spoke quietly. Then how did the defendant leave the building at 10:01? The courtroom fell silent again. The witness's breathing changed. I might have remembered the time wrong. The defense nodded. That's possible. Then he picked up another document. But there's something else. The judge leaned forward. What is it? The defense held up a phone log. The victim reported that her phone was stolen during the attack. The witness nodded quickly. Yes. The defense looked down at the document. This is the activity record from that phone. The prosecutor frowned. And the defense turned the page toward the judge. The phone made a call at 10:05 p.m. The witness froze. The defense spoke slowly. To a number saved under the name Dad. The gallery murmured. The witness shook her head. I didn't make that call. The defense nodded. Of course not. He stepped closer. Because according to your testimony, the attacker had already stolen the phone. Yes. The defense's voice lowered. But the phone's signal never left her apartment. The witness looked toward the prosecutor. Then back to the defense. I don't understand. The defense lifted another document. A location report from the phone provider. The judge studied it carefully. Then looked up. The device remained inside the apartment until midnight. The prosecutor's confidence began to fade. The defense continued. So, either the attacker stayed in your apartment for 2 hours. He paused. Or the phone was never stolen. The witness's voice trembled. You're twisting things. The defense remained calm. No. He pressed another button. A new image appeared on the screen. A delivery receipt. Dated the same night. Timestamp. 9:45 p.m. The defense turned to the witness. You ordered food that evening. Yes. And the delivery driver arrived at 9:50. Yes. The defense zoomed in on the signature. Is this your signature? The witness hesitated. Yes. The defense nodded. Then zoomed in again. Showing the driver's note. Customer argument heard inside apartment before door opened. The jurors exchanged glances. The defense continued. The driver also reported hearing a male voice. The witness's hands tightened. That proves nothing. The defense looked at the jury. The driver described the voice as older. Then he looked at the witness again. Much older than the defendant. The courtroom felt heavier now. The defense spoke carefully. You told the police you live alone. Yes. But the driver heard someone else inside. The witness stayed silent. The defense finished quietly. Who was inside your apartment that night? The witness's breathing grew faster. The prosecutor stood. Objection. But the judge raised a hand. Because something about the story had started to unravel. The defense placed one final document on the table. This is the building access log. The judge examined it slowly. Then looked up. The victim's father entered the building at 9:40 p.m. The courtroom erupted into whispers. The defense spoke softly. And he left at 10:12 p.m. The witness's face went pale. The defense stepped closer. You accuse the defendant because he lives in the same building. The witness shook her head desperately. No. But the real argument that night, he paused, was with someone else. The defense looked at the access log again. Someone the delivery driver heard. The room was completely silent now. The defense turned toward the jury. The accusation was convincing. He gestured toward the screen. But the evidence told a different story. Then he faced the witness. Your father was in your apartment that night. The witness's lips trembled. The defense asked the final question. Was the argument with him? The witness said nothing. Across the courtroom, The accused man finally looked up. The same calm expression he had carried since the beginning. Because the truth had been hiding in plain sight the entire time. And one small detail in the evidence had just exposed it.